questions, Randy.
Within Pineda's preferred tactics and stuff like that, what role do the crosses that you and Brooks and Caleb and the other guys put in?
Yeah, I think it's it's an integral part of our attack. He always talks about getting into the prime assist zones, which are kind of just outside the 18 towards the end line. So yeah, I think I wouldn't say it's one of our main points to attack, but it's definitely something that we're trying to utilize and we're trying to get better at. Just putting in good crosses, good services, and starting to get on the end of them.
And what is a good cross? How would you?
When it goes in the back of the
Okay.
net, yeah. No, I think it's it's when you can find your man. In that moment, it's a lot's happening. The defense is dropping. You look up and you see a lot of numbers, and I think a good cross is just slowing down for that half a second and picking out one of our teammates, whether that's a chip to the back post, hard across the six, or even a cutback for someone. I think that's something that we can work on is just slowing down a half a second right before we cross it and make that final pass.
And do y'all talk about varying the crosses, like you were talking about the cutback and the height, or putting in early crosses too?
I think it's just you got to read the defense on what's happening. Maybe sometimes at the beginning of the game you want to put in early crosses to kind of test the back line, see what their pace is, see how they react. But, we want to play our style, and it's just kind of when we get in those areas, picking out the man, whether it's a cutback, whether it's a chip back post, whether it's hard across the six, that's what we have to decide, and frankly what we have to get a little bit better at.
Yeah, I was going to say, how effective do you think the team has been with those this season?
Yeah, I think we're getting in the areas. I think there's a couple times where we've gotten in the areas and we've actually connected, and the keeper's either made a really good save or we've just missed the target. I think it's because we get in the areas, a lot of people expect us to connect every single time, and you also got to remember that the defense is also doing their job to stop it. And it's not going to come off every time, but if we can just maybe get 4 or 5 more connected crosses, I think it will make a huge difference for us.
I think Montreal was the last league game in which y'all scored multiple goals, I think is right. How do you get the offense going these past 4? You've had a lot of opportunities, just can't put the ball in the net.
Yeah, I think our offense is doing a fantastic job. I think Thiago, Marcelino, all those guys up front are causing chaos for the defenders that we face. I think it's just that, like I said, that final moment, the final touch, being clinical in front of net. That's just something that we're struggling on right now. But personally, I don't think that's something that's going to last all season. I think for me, it's almost just a little bit of bad luck that's happening. And I think that if we continue to just work hard, continue to focus on what we're good at and dominate the games, they're going to start falling in. We're going to start scoring more goals, and now people are going to talk about us winning 3-4-0 in some games and not being like, oh, we can't score. So it's just us being a little more patient and a little more clinical, and I think things will turn around for us.
And despite the struggles, y'all are still, I think, 4th in the table or something in the East. So
yeah,
it's not like you're losing ground.
No, it's kind of funny. A lot of teams would be really happy to be 4th in the table, but for us to be 4th in the table, it's a different feeling. It's almost like a little bit of a letdown for us. And I think that just speaks to the goals we have this season and our expectations of ourselves, not just the outside media like you guys. We expect a lot from ourselves, and for us, we feel like we're underperforming a little bit. But that's just something that you hit these like ups and downs in the season, and right now we're maybe on a little bit of a downslope, but it's one game turns everything around, and then we could go on a run 3-4 games winning in a row.
And Pineda talked about after the game about just being more clinical in front of goal, and I don't know how can you improve that? How do you fix that? It's almost like the yips, in playing in golf. What can you do?
I think it's just a little bit more focus, in terms of, all right, I'm in front of goal. That split second that I talked about earlier, just taking almost like a deep breath right before it happens, composing yourself and finishing. And like I said, it's almost a little bit of bad luck for what's going on with us. It's kind of funny. We scored so many late goals earlier in the first couple games, and now it almost feels like a little bit of payback that we're not, scoring the goals. But for me personally, I'm not worried that the goals aren't falling in. It's almost more worrying if we go away to games and we're not playing well or we get dominated. But you look at the Miami game. Personally, I think we deserved to win that game. We were the better team, and unfortunately, we just couldn't score. But it's very encouraging that we're still putting together these performances, even though the goals aren't coming for us yet.
And I guess a bunker defense, which I don't know if Montreal is going to be bunkered, but Miami kind of bunkered a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How important are those crosses that we were talking about at the beginning of this interview?
Yeah, I think it's really important. It kind of opens up the back line, especially in Miami. It just felt like they were just sitting at the top of the box and just trying to put as much numbers as they could in the box to defend. So if we're able to open up their defense a little bit, even if they're still sitting back, just open them up and create more pockets, then Thiago, Marcelino, the guys up front can slide in and provide something special for us and get the goal. I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's huge, like a huge deal about the crosses right now. I think we're getting into those areas and they're just not coming off. And like I said, they're going to start coming off and we're going to start scoring some goals. And I think it'll be a whole different story.
Andrew, the team has obviously been hit with the injury bug, but what's it like seeing guys come back, like Emerson, Luis, make their returns and start to be more of a factor for the team?
Yeah, I think, especially those two guys you mentioned, they're very special players, very talented players. And it's just only going to give us a bigger boost of confidence going into matches, knowing that our roster is so deep. And, if one guy goes down, unfortunately, then it's next man up mentality. And the level doesn't really drop from, player to player. But especially with Luis and Emerson coming back, they're difference makers. And, if it's a tight game, maybe 1-1, 0-0 or something, hopefully they can provide the difference for us and, help us get a win.
And looking at the schedule, April was a tough stretch. You had 4 away games, 5 away from Mercedes-Benz. How's the team's energy level and how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it was obviously a difficult month in terms of results, in terms of travel and all that stuff. But it's our job to get through these. It's easy to say, oh, we were away and, it's hard to win away and stuff like that. It's almost more disappointing about how the results happen for us. I feel like we set such high expectations for ourselves, Supporters Shield, MLS Cup, US Open Cup, all that stuff. So for us, it's just pushing a little bit harder, giving you 10, 20 more % on the training pitch on, in the 90-minute games, all that stuff, and just giving it your all. And just giving it your all and pushing and, then coming in, recovering for the week and then getting ready to go again. All good?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Sorry, the ball distracted me.
Camera's all good? All right, let's go ahead with questions for Brooks.
Writing a story about crosses for tomorrow. And talk about the role they play within Pineda's tactics.
Yeah, obviously, you want to get into dangerous areas. Gonzalo likes, the wingers or the fullbacks to be in higher positions and get in, prime assist zone areas where we like to talk about. Where if you look at the statistics, across the world in world soccer, most goals come from those positions. So we try our best to get in those areas and create goal scoring opportunities for our forwards. And those are areas that we've done really well at getting into, but unfortunately we haven't scored as many goals as we'd like to, and that's something that we're going to continue to work on the practice field, and hopefully it'll come in the games.
Why haven't y'all had more goals, do you think, from those crosses?
I mean, there's different reasons why. I think sometimes we're just not being as patient as we need to be in front of goal. Other times that maybe the cross isn't as good as it needs to be, and it's just kind of that taking that deep breath before we're finishing these chances so that we bury him in the back of the net. I thought in the last 2 games we've created so many goal scoring opportunities that we haven't finished, and it came back and bit us. So we need to continue working hard, and that's what we're going to do on the training field. Gonzalo is the type of coach that no matter what happens in the game, it comes down to what we do in training, and we're going to work as hard as possible to get the ball in the back of the net for our supporters.
I asked Andrew this too, because Pineda said after the game, we just got to be more clinical in front of goal. How do you do that? I mean, how do you train that?
Yeah, like I said, just getting in those positions, that we get in the game, and making sure that the wingers and the fullbacks are on the same wavelength as the striker, and the type of runs that we have going inside the box. Knowing where players are going to be when you get in those areas, and that's how you get chances and score goals.
Thank you.
Brooks, there were points in the match when you guys were combining really well. I think you were on the tail end of one of those plays. How are those connections forming, and how can the team kind of finish off those chances?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I thought we've been playing very, very well. If you watch the games, we've been playing good soccer. We've been breaking these teams down. We've been getting into these great positions that Gonzalo wants us to get into. Dangerous attacking zone positions, getting into those premises zones. But yeah, it's just that final ball and that finish. I think that's the last piece. The hardest part of soccer is putting the ball in the back of the net. So we just need to continue to work on it, and I think it'll come, and the results will follow.
And then I asked Andrew this, but looking at the schedule, April was a really tough stretch. You had a lot of away games, a lot of trips. How are you feeling energy-wise? How's the team feeling?
Yeah, I think everyone feels good. We've had guys go down, and you've seen guys have come into the lineup and stepped up in a positive way, and that's very important. We have a very deep roster and a deep squad, which is great for us, and we just need to continue working hard, continue pushing. I know we've had a lot of road games this month, but there's no reason why we can't get results moving forward on the road. I think we've been putting the performances together, and now it's just that final ball and that final pass to get some goals and finish these games in wins instead of ties or losses.
Despite the issues, y'all are still, I think, 4th in the table, so you haven't lost a lot of ground.
Yeah, that's positive. We want to be as high as we possibly can at all times in the table, and we're working towards it.
And Andrew also kind of joked a little bit that all those late goals y'all scored earlier, now it's almost kind of karma is paying y'all back, or you just can't put the ball in the net right now.
Yeah, maybe it is a little bit of karma in soccer. I think we had a lot of kind of lucky late winners early on in the season, but now it's we're not getting that kind of the ball's not rolling that way anymore, and that's just that's the way of life and the way of soccer. So we're going to continue to work hard, do everything we can to be prepared for Montreal, and we're looking to go there and pick up points.
Yeah, one of those late comebacks was against Montreal at home, and they haven't lost since early March. What kind of challenge do they pose?
Yeah, Montreal's a tough team. They're a really good opponent. You saw what they were capable of doing to us on our home field. But I think it's going to be a great matchup. We've been playing very well, even though the results might not follow. I think we've been playing great soccer, like I said earlier, and so have they have as well. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, a good game of football, and like I said, we're looking to go there Saturday night and pick up some points.
Thank you.
Anything else,
Thank you,
Brooks?
guys.
No.
Appreciate it.
Now you were on the schedule. Thank you for
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate it, folks.